You want to know what really hurts a woman? Not yelling, not blocking her, not begging her to understand. It is this one thing most men never do because it requires strength, silence, self-control. And when she realizes what you have done, she won't forget it. This is not about games. This is about what happens when a man finally wakes up and stops handing his peace to someone who never respected it. The kind of man who does this is not the one who announces his departure. He is not the one who threatens or tries to make her feel guilty. He simply arrives at a conclusion that she never saw coming. A conclusion born not of anger or spite, but of a quiet, unshakable recognition that his value was never dependent on her ability to see it. And that conclusion, when it settles into his bones, changes everything. It changes the way he walks, the way he speaks, the way he holds his own gaze in the mirror. It changes the energy he radiates, and she feels it before she even understands what has happened. That is the power of a man who has stopped explaining himself. That is the beginning of something she never expected. At first, she does not even notice the shift. She thinks you are still there, still waiting, still hoping because that is what you have always done. You were always the one who cared too much, the one who stayed up late trying to fix what she would not even admit was broken, the one who over-explained just to calm her silence, the one who forgave her cold words, her moods, her disappearing act again and again. You gave her your heart, thinking she would see your effort, but she did not. She saw a man who would not leave, a man who kept giving, no matter how little she gave back. And deep down, she mistook your love for weakness, so she got comfortable, too comfortable. She thought she had time to decide, time to push you away and pull you back when it suited her, time to treat you like an option, because you always came back. She became accustomed to the rhythm of your devotion, the predictability of your patience, the certainty that, no matter how cold she became, you would still be there when she turned around. That certainty became her comfort, and comfort became her entitlement. She began to believe that your love was simply a given, something she did not need to earn or maintain, something that would survive any neglect she threw at it. But something shifted, and it was not loud, it was not dramatic, it was quiet. You did not slam the door, you did not write a long message, you did not post quotes or play games. You just stopped. You stopped chasing her mood. You stopped trying to read her mixed signals. You stopped answering her silence with paragraphs. You did not yell. You did not cry. You did not explain. You just went quiet. And that calm, peaceful silence, it hits different, because it does not sound like anger. It does not sound like bitterness. It sounds like freedom. For the first time, she feels something she never expected from you. Distance. But not the kind where you are still hoping from afar. Not the kind where you are pretending to move on, but still checking in. This distance is different. It is the kind that says, I'm not waiting anymore. I am not trying to be enough for someone who could not see it. I am choosing me now. And that realization, it does not just sting. It shakes her. Because once a man who truly loved you stops trying, there is no script left to control him with, no guilt, no silence, no game. You finally let go, and nothing hurts her more than realizing the man she once thought she could always return to does not live there anymore.
The shift in power, it starts small. You stop replying right away. You stop asking, "Are you okay?" When she pulls away, you stop overthinking every word she says, wondering what it means. You used to chase her approval. Now you value your peace. You used to shrink yourself just to avoid conflict. Now you say less and mean more. And she feels it. At first, she thinks it is just a phase, that you are playing it cool to get a reaction. She assumes you will fold like always, but this time it is different. You are not being cold. You are not playing games. You are just done performing. Done being the one who always tries harder. Done being emotionally available for someone who weaponized silence. Done proving your worth to someone who acted like it was nothing special. And that shift, it shakes her because she was used to controlling the rhythm. She knew how to pull you in, then push you away, then pull you back again. But now you have gone still, unbothered, unreachable. She throws attitude, you do not flinch. She tries to start a fight, you stay calm. She disappears, and for the first time, you do not follow. That silence, that calm energy, it does not just confuse her, it exposes her. It shows her that what she thought was control was only possible because you allowed it.
Now she has no idea where she stands, because the man who used to orbit around her emotions now revolves around his own standards. She is not used to this version of you, the one who values peace more than her validation, the one who can walk away not to punish her, but to protect his own mind and heart. And that is what hurts the most, because when you are no longer controlled by her drama, her moods, her games, she realizes something terrifying. She never had power. She just had access. And now she does not anymore. That access was a privilege she took for granted, a gift she treated like a right. She believed that your attention was a renewable resource, something she could tap into whenever she felt the need, something that would never run dry. But she miscalculated. She did not realize that even the most patient man has a limit, a threshold beyond which his love transforms into something else, something she cannot recognize because she has never seen it before. That something is self-respect, and once it awakens, it does not go back to sleep. It becomes the quiet sentinel that guards his peace, the still voice that reminds him of his worth when the old patterns try to pull him back. And she feels that new energy when she is near you. It is not hostile, but it is also not welcoming in the way it used to be. It is simply present, unbothered, complete without her. And that wholeness, that sense of a man who is enough on his own, is the one thing she cannot manipulate. She cannot guilt him. She cannot seduce him. She cannot bargain with him. She can only watch him stand in his own light and realize that she is no longer the source of its warmth. When she sees you peaceful, there is a moment, a silent moment, when she sees you and you do not look like the man she remembers. You are not bitter. You are not cold. You are not chasing. You are just peaceful. You are living your life focused on your work, spending time with real friends, smiling in ways she has not seen before, smiling like you are free. And that is when it hits her. She did not break you. She set you free. The man who once waited for her replies does not wait on anyone now. The man who once asked for her attention now commands it without even trying. She sees you post a picture, not with someone else, but with yourself, looking alive, at peace, untouchable.
And in that split second, she remembers how you used to light up when she walked in, how you used to bend your plans just to make her happy, how you used to carry the weight of the relationship on your back, and now she is watching you live, and she is not part of it. You are not moving on to make her jealous. You are not posting stories to get her attention. You are simply being you, finally. And that is the cut that stings deeper than any argument, any breakup, any goodbye. Because she realizes you did not just let go of her. You let go of needing her. And nothing scares a woman more than seeing the man she once took for granted thriving in a life where she is no longer even a thought. She thought you would be broken, but you are better. She thought you would stay in the shadows, but you are out in the sun, and she is not even in the frame. That is not revenge. That is healing. And for her, that hurts more than anything she ever imagined, because it forces her to confront the uncomfortable truth that she was never the center of your world. She was just a temporary occupant of a space that was always meant to be filled by something greater, something she could not provide. When you stop explaining, there is a kind of silence that says more than 1,000 words. And when you reach that point where you stop explaining yourself to her, that is when everything changes. You see, you used to explain your heart, your intentions, your every move. You explained why you cared, why you stayed, why you forgave. You explained your silence when you were hurt, and your words when you felt misunderstood. But none of it mattered because she was not listening. She was not trying to understand. She was trying to control the story. And you kept giving her power. Every time you explained yourself to someone who had already made up her mind, you handed her the rope she would eventually use to tie you in knots. But then one day you stop. She starts her usual routine, the guilt, the blame, the twisting of the story. And you say nothing. No defense, no explanation, no begging her to see your side. You let her talk, and when she is done, you simply nod and walk away. Not in anger, not in spite, but with a calm heart, because you finally understand something powerful. You do not owe explanations to someone who never valued the truth. And that silence, that calm, unshakable stillness, it burns louder than any words ever could. Because it is not silence out of fear, it is silence out of strength. She cannot twist it, she cannot use it, she cannot control it.
And that is when the weight of everything she did starts falling back on her.
The man who once fought to be understood is now the man who does not need to be. And nothing makes a woman regret her choices more than realizing she lost the one person who was willing to explain himself until he realized she was never worth explaining to. The Stoics understood that the greatest victory is not over others, but over one's own impulses. Epictetus taught that we are not disturbed by events, but by our judgments about them. In walking away from her chaos, you are not running from her. You are running toward yourself. You are reclaiming the faculty of choice, the prohoresis, that is the essence of human freedom. You are choosing to no longer be a character in her drama. You are choosing to be the author of your own life, and that choice, once made, cannot be unmade. It becomes the bedrock upon which you rebuild everything. Seneca wrote that no man is more miserable than the one who is slave to his own desires. And your desire for her approval, for her recognition, for her love, that was the chain that kept you bound. But now you have broken it. Not by hating her, but by loving yourself more. Not by rejecting her, but by accepting your own worth. That is the transformation she sees in you. the one that leaves her speechless and disarmed. She is used to men who fight for her, who argue, who plead, who try to prove their value through words. She is not used to a man who simply lets go and becomes whole on his own. That is a different kind of power, one that does not need to assert itself because it is already complete. This was never about revenge. It was never about playing hard to get, and it was never about making her jealous. This is about rising. It is about standing up after being overlooked. It is about finding your strength in the silence. It is about choosing your peace over her chaos, your self-respect over her mind games, your future over her mixed signals. Because when a man truly learns to value his time, his heart, his peace, and his worth, he stops chasing people who never deserved him. He stops begging for the bare minimum. He stops waiting for people to realize his value, and instead, he becomes unforgettable. Not because he tried to be, but because his absence speaks louder than his presence ever did. And the ones who did not value him, they remember. They remember the silence, the way he did not argue, did not explain, did not fight. They remember the distance, the way he pulled back, not to punish, but to protect his soul. They remember the moment, the exact day he stopped showing up with a heart they never bothered to protect. That is Stoicism. That is masculine power. That is what it means to become a man who moves in peace, not noise. Because in a world full of men trying to prove themselves, the man who does not need to is the one they never forget. And that is the day she realizes you are not just another man chasing her. You were the blessing she did not recognize. And now, she never gets that chance again. But this is not a story about her. It is a story about you. It is about the day you looked in the mirror and saw someone worth protecting. It is about the day you stopped measuring your value through her eyes and began measuring it through your own. It is about the day you understood that your peace is not negotiable, that your time is not infinite, and that your heart is not a playground for people who treat love like a game. That day, you became a different man. Not a harder man, not a colder man, but a clearer man. A man who knows what he wants and what he will not tolerate. A man who can walk through the fire of another person's indifference and come out the other side not scarred, but refined. That is the alchemy of Stoic practice, turning every setback into a lesson, every rejection into a redirection, every loss into a liberation. And when you embody that, when you live that, you do not need to announce it. People feel it. They feel the difference in your handshake, your gaze, your posture. They feel the absence of need in your energy. And that absence, that freedom from craving, is the most attractive thing you can ever wear. So, if you have ever walked away from chaos, if you have ever chosen peace over drama, if you have ever stopped explaining yourself to someone who never cared, know that you have done something courageous. You have broken a cycle that could have consumed you. You have reclaimed a part of yourself that was being held hostage, and you have proven to yourself that you are not defined by anyone's inability to see your worth. You are defined by your ability to see it yourself. The world is full of people who will take from you as long as you let them. But the moment you stop giving, the moment you stand still in your own power, the dynamic shifts forever. She may not say it. She may not even admit it to herself.
But deep down, she knows what she lost. And you know what you gained. You gained yourself. And that is worth more than any relationship that was never truly mutual. The Stoic concept of ataraxia, inner tranquility, is not a passive state. It is an active achievement. It is the result of countless small decisions to prioritize your own sanity over the approval of others. It is the fruit of discipline, of refusing to be pulled into the vortex of another person's unresolved chaos. And when you taste that tranquility, you will never trade it for the temporary highs of validation from someone who cannot hold space for you. You will protect it with the same fierce loyalty you once gave to her. That is the evolution. That is the becoming. And it is beautiful. So, take a breath. Feel the weight that has lifted. Notice how much lighter you are without her expectations pressing on your shoulders. Notice how much clearer your mind is without the constant noise of her interpretations. You are free. And freedom, when it is genuine, is the most powerful force on earth. It is what she senses when she sees you now. It is what makes her pause, what makes her wonder, what makes her wish she had been different. But her wishes are no longer your concern. Your concern is your own life, your own growth, your own peace. And that is exactly where your attention belongs. If this resonated, if any part of this story mirrors your own, then you are already on the path. You are already doing the work. Keep going. Keep choosing yourself. Keep protecting your peace. And remember, you do not have to fight for what is meant for you. You only have to stop fighting to be seen by those who never deserved you. In that space, in that stillness, you become the man she will never forget. Not because you tried to be memorable, but because you finally became who you were always meant to be. And that is the ultimate victory. That is the quiet power of a man who knows his worth. That is the strength that comes from silence, the dignity that comes from detachment, and the peace that comes from letting go. You have arrived. Now, live it.